You're listening to Tell This Story. I'm Doug White, a veteran, retired law enforcement officer, and the author of Hiding in Plain Sight. This is a platform for those who serve in our families to share their experiences and help one another grow. This isn't therapy. It's truth, the tactics, and a way forward. It's an opportunity to become stronger than before, together. This episode is fueled by Polestar Coffee, veteran-owned and operated craft roasted coffee for people who live on the X. Use code THISSTORY at checkout for 10% off your order. Now let's get to work. Welcome to Tell This Story. Today's guest is a guy who's lived his life from just about every angle. Tyler Martin spent more than 15 years in law enforcement, from the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office to the Maine State Police and the United States Secret Service. He's worked a variety of roles, teaming up with agencies all over the world. He's a creator and host of the Street Tales podcast and the Sixi'N show on the Street Tales network. On his platforms, he sits down with cops, military, first responders, and folks who have been on the wrong side of the law and fought their way back. The mission is simple: humanize the badge, tell the truth, and give people a real look at what this life actually costs and what redemption can look like. Tyler's also the author of Street Tales Volume 1. It's a podcast-style book built from 6 raw, unfiltered interviews from the Street Tales. 3 with people who have battled addiction and criminality and rebuilt their lives, and 3 with the Street Tales team who found different paths into this profession. We're going to get into his journey, why he's so committed to telling these stories, and what he's learning from being on both sides of the microphone. Sit back and enjoy, folks. It's Tyler Martin. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Tell This Story with Doug White. Today, as promised, I have a buddy of mine, somebody who wrote an awesome freaking book, who has an awesome podcast, but you heard all that shit already in the intro. Tyler Martin, welcome to Tell This Story. What's going on, buddy?
Doug, I'm so happy to be here, brother, and I love what you're doing, man.
No.
I love what you're doing. Can I embellish a little? Can I not embellish, but can I tell my little story about you?
Well, but before you do, I want to know if I can schedule time to interview your beard. I hope people are watching this and not listening, because this thing is amazing. As we speak, it's probably growing its own beard right now.
It is. But
anyway, yeah, embellish, say whatever you want. I hope it's factual, or at least makes me feel better.
It's all factual because it's my experience. So Doug was a corporal when I started at Hillsborough County. Dude, I got to do it because it's honest and it's what I remember.
Okay.
And dude, you came in fresh recruit, and you're the way you held yourself, the way you conducted yourself, the way you articulated things. I was like, this is a fucking cop. And you actually spoke to us about real things, not just what was in the book. And I had maybe 3 other encounters with you. And I will say this, every single time I had an interaction with you, I learned something. And I have no idea what was going on behind, in your mind, or, call outs or whatever was going on. But every single time you took a moment and explained to me what was happening, why whatever I was doing was right or wrong, in your process and what you were doing. And I took those lessons. I was like, I appreciated those few moments of time, dude. It stuck with me for my whole career. And then we reconnected via the book and podcasting. And you were on my podcast in the audio version. That's why we got to get you back on video, because now I'm progressing. And you still do the same thing. Every time I talk to you, I learn something. I feel motivated. I feel validated in what I'm trying to do. And it's just who you are, brother. And for me, I'm a fan, and I appreciate you. And I love seeing that. I didn't know all the things that you've shared in your book and you shared on the podcast. It blew my mind because I never would have guessed. And we've talked through that. I understand that. But for me, my perspective, you were always there, man. You were always trying to do your best, and you were always trying to help. So for me, I'm a fan, and I'll be forever grateful.
I appreciate that. And I've said this on several other episodes, mine and others, that I'm trying to get better at accepting compliments and praise. But I am getting better. So I don't want to therapize this, but what I heard you say was, there is no Tyler Martin without Doug White. And I accept that.
Yes.
And
you made me better. You've made me better.
That's awful. No, dude.
You made me a better cop 15 years later. You made me a better author. And I'm still using your leading the way in podcast stuff to make my podcast better. So you're still doing it, brother, whether you want to or not.
Okay, I was going to tell you, and you've embarrassed yourself there, because I was going to tell you that I want to do what you're doing with Street Tales. And I want to get into the podcast, the spinoffs, how you were one dude just trying to work this shit out on your phone, and now you are for people with spinoffs and a t-shirt line or an apparel line, and you're helping out, Blue Cancer Connect. You're doing so many things that I think is, that's awesome, man. And I just, I'm glad to have made a mark somewhere in your past that you can recall on. So that's always been my goal, man. I wanted to be helpful to the people that were around me. And, thanks, bro. I appreciate that. So, and I appreciate what you're doing too, man. I am a huge fan of what you've done, and you have your fingers in everything, man. I want to dive right in, but
yeah,
for people who don't know who Tyler Martin is, I've given a one-dimensional intro. Tell us who you are, and you can tell us the trailer park kid with the rat tail and cut off jeans too. I love that part.
The story is it kind of goes all over the place. Get me back on track if I start veering too far, but I think first and foremost, I'm a father, and I don't know.
Write that down, everybody. Write that down.
First and foremost, and I say that today, turning 42. Having turned 42.
Shut
sorry.
Up.
Yeah.
There's a very small list of people I wouldn't harm to be 42 again.
Dude, I'm loving it now. So actually, my mother said that her 20s were awful, her 30s were okay, but her 40s and 50s have been amazing. So I'm like, all right, I'm waiting on that, Ma. But I say that today because I probably wouldn't have said that any other time prior to now. I was a football player, college athlete. I was a cop, a sheriff deputy. I was a trooper. I was a special agent with the Secret Service. I'm still working for the federal government. And I found myself putting my career above most things, including my family, always with the understanding or in my head that I was doing this for them. I was giving them a better life. And just because I have fun doing it doesn't make it a bad thing, even though I was never around. But today, my son is turning 20 soon. My daughter will be 18 next year, graduating high school. So it's taken me a little while, but I'm a father first, and I couldn't be more proud of my kids. So that's number one. Number two, no one in my life growing up would have ever assumed I would ever be a cop, just by my upbringing, my high school career, the way that went, the fact that I got into law enforcement. They're like, dude, they never saw it in a million years, but it connected with me in a way. It was like a brotherhood for me. It was like a team. I miss that team element. So to me, it's like football. It's filled with good guys, bad guys. And when I say bad guys, it just means some people aren't that great, but all the above. But it was a team, and I felt like I was actually doing something good and positive with my life. And I loved it. Awesome. And I fell in love with the profession.
Yeah, that's important. That is very important.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope the doing more in the profession and providing a better life for your family. I'm hoping that wasn't something I taught you.
No. You taught me how to be safe and how to look for things, people trying to hurt me. Because for people that don't understand, I don't know if we ever talked about, I was a banker before I got into law enforcement. Yeah. And so that wasn't a thing in my world. And then you start realizing, one, not every criminal is a bad guy, and not every good person is a good person. Some people are just trying to hurt you. And so anyway, you helped me look through things in a safety wise. So honestly, dude, I think maybe a lot of the stuff that you taught me is why I was able to go home whenever I finally went home, thinking, there's so many elements. I'm not trying to get into a whole diatribe on law enforcement, but there's so many things that you have to be conscious of. But doing better, I was lost for a long time, and then I found law enforcement, and it kind of gave me a focus on my professional side. And fast forward 15 years, I'm doing better on my personal side. I'm doing a lot better.
No, that's awesome.
Took me a little while to get there.
It does. We talked before we started. We started everything talking about our kids, and specifically, I started ranting about my son, who started a podcast of his own, and I came in here and couldn't find any of my shit all set up, and had to change screen names. And anyway, but man, everybody's going to find their way. I was a late bloomer. I mean, I was 19. I was 19 and a half, standing at basic training on fire watch, for God's sakes, when it hit me.
Yeah.
And so it takes time, man. And my next iteration of me happened when I was 49 and a half.
There you go.
So I'm still
never too late.
No, it's not, man. And it's never too late to become the person you were always meant to be. I'm a firm believer in that. And if you put it in your head that it's too late to make a difference, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. You've done it to yourself.
But if you think that you can make a difference, and it's time to change and see things from a different perspective, you're also right.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what you're doing now, man, because to be honest with you, it's short of incredible. I'm a huge fan of your work, huge fan of the book Street Tales, Volume
Yeah.
1 by Tyler Martin. I love the cover. In
Thank you.
fact, I stole it, the cover for the cover art for this episode. So just go ahead and
Perfect.
tell you that on the front end.
As you can, as you are allowed.
How did this thing even start, man? Tell me about this.
So funny enough, so it actually started 5 years ago. My kids used to love listening to me and my cop buddies tell stories around the fire. We lived in Maine, so we would have fires. For those who don't have that ability, one of my happiest moments with my kids, my family, and my friends talking around a fire, sitting around a fire. But if I had my cop buddies with me, we try to keep them humorous. They weren't the horrific ones, even though my kids know some of them, not all of them. But they're like, dude, you should. My son was like, you should start a podcast. And I've had many friends say I should start a podcast. So let's see, last year, 2024. So 2021, my son and my daughter on their own made the intro music to my podcast
That's cool.
in
What a cool
preparation
story.
for me to do a podcast. That's how much they. So yeah, my intro and outro music are my children. It'll always be that way. It's just doesn't matter what happens because
That's
they made that
awesome,
for me.
man. That's awesome.
So fast forward, I got out of the Secret Service and had a complete career change, life change, and I found myself. I had a lot more personal time, and I was like, you know what, I got to do this. And so I think I've told the story a couple times, but I came across a home video of my grandfather, and it was like a 2-minute thing. He was just there. He wasn't like he wasn't saying anything. But I heard his voice, and it brought tears to my eyes because he passed away probably 10 years ago. And I was like, I got to do this. The original concept of the podcast was I'm just going to talk into the microphone and I'm going to tell stories about, in my head, why dad was gone all the time. That lasted one episode. I didn't like it. I was not good at doing that. It lasted 24 minutes. I was like, this is awful. And so I reached out for help, and I just reached out to my brother, Taylor, which, yeah, that's a whole thing, and my friends. And I was like, hey, I'm trying to do this podcast thing. Can we do this? And it was all audio, and I did it on my phone. I had like my earbuds on or something. Terrible audio, like all this stuff. But I was like, I'm just going to do it. And I started having these conversations, and I was learning so much about my close friends and my family. I was like, this is awesome. And then people started listening to it. I don't know if you had that experience, Doug, but I remember my first episode, I was like, oh my God, 20 people listened to it. And I was just so excited that people even gave a shit. So then I started like, I really enjoy doing this, and I have a wide network of contacts just in the nature of the work that I've done. And it's morphed over time, but now what it is I just want to talk to pretty much anybody and everybody. Actually, let me rephrase that. It's not anybody and everybody. I want to have open and honest conversations about people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone does have a story if they're willing to tell it. And I don't force anybody to come on here. It's not a gotcha. It's nothing like that. But it's geared around law enforcement, military, and I'm going to say first responders because that's open up to dispatchers. I mean, it's wild, the connections I've started making. And also the other side of the law, right? People who are criminals, and not to ever glorify the crimes they were committing, but they talk about how they got into it. And everyone's story is different: drug use, bank robbery, selling dope, all kinds of stuff. But they talk about their rock bottom and then the redemption side, getting over it, getting better, and progressing in their life and not giving up. So we've started to kind of gain a focus on what the podcast is and what the podcast isn't. We were talking before offline. There's a lot of people that want to come on here and just sell you stuff or class or I don't know, whatever it is. And it just, I can't deal with the inauthentic or the arrogant or the egos. Check your egos as soon. I'm not going to do it. If I record it and I feel it, I might not put it up because I don't like it. It has to be honest because nobody's perfect, man. And I've met some great people. We talked about Mike Morgan, stuff like that. Bad dude, like meaning like badass is what I'm saying. But he talks about his vulnerability and how it cost him, a couple relationships and how he's now trying to get better and all these things. So that's the focus now, and people seem to be relating to it.
No, that's awesome. I think that what makes your podcast and podcasts that are on the platform of the storytelling and the redemption, the win, I think the magic in that honestly is, like you said, everybody has a story as long as they're willing to tell it. I've heard some podcasts and people going out in whatever space they're in, and
Yeah.
they're just dumping trauma and come listen to my story, but
Yeah.
there's no win.
Yeah.
And applaud you for telling your story and getting it out there. And
Yeah.
if that's where you're at, that's good. That's a good first step. And I never want to shame anybody there, but if your whole thing is years later, you're charging people a lot of money so you can just dump your trauma on them and you're not showing them the
Yeah.
win, because you weren't in the bottom of the barrel and now you're a keynote speaker at a Fortune 500 company. Show me the win. How did you get here? Where are
Yeah.
the takeaways, the things that I can do now, tonight, next week to make me better? I think
Yeah.
I think the redemption is where the story is. That's where the richness comes in. And I prefer to listen to those things so that I can either take something away or I can attach it to my own story and say, hey, I know what that feels like, or I've been there. So
Yeah.
I think those are important things, and I think those stand out above the rest. And with that, you wrote the book Street Tales,
Yes.
Volume 1, which tells me there's going to be a Volume 2.
Oh, hopefully there'll be multiple volumes.
So
That's the goal.
how did you come up to the idea of this? Because when you explained it to me, I was so lost in the concept because I'd never seen it, I'd never heard of it before,
Yeah.
and it was so awesome. And then when I get the pre-copy and actually read it, I'm like, dude, this is freaking awesome. And the stories you selected them for a reason.
Yeah.
And they all have that power, that bottom of the barrel, and then the redemption.
Yeah.
How did you come up with the idea for all of this?
I got to give credit to my children again. Again, my kids, they're my biggest critics and my biggest fans, I can assure you. They tell me all the time I post like a dad, so I'm still working on the other side of the business that you and I were talking about. I'm not a fan of, but I'm trying to get better at. And they were like, you should write a book. And I struggle with that. And I was like, I love what I'm doing on the podcast. So I was like, I want it to be a podcast book, meaning I want to tell stories about the people I've talked to. And I know you wrote a book, and it's like, you waffle with the idea of like, do you write it all in your own words, in your perspective? Do you make them stories from, there's a bunch of things. There's a lot of creative things you can do with a book. I was like, I want this to be in their words because it's their story, right? And that's why it's written the way it's written. I do a little intro on why who this person is, why their story matters, what I attained, what I got from their story, and then at the bottom, I do my best to summarize it, my best shot. And then I call. Actually, we recorded our episode, and you were like, I wrote this book, and I was like, dude, I've been thinking about this. I want to do it, and you were like, you helped me. You connected me with Lil Barkowski. I'm a huge fan. I'll give her a shout out every day.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I told her, even if she didn't realize it, she's part of the team as well. So you mentioned four. Lil's the fifth member. I think basketball, like the sixth man. Lil's the fifth person. Because I call her with all my stuff, anything I have going on. And she actually is the one that kind of brought it to life because I had my manuscript, and she goes, this is a great start, rough draft. Shred all of it.
Yeah.
It's a good start. But she actually made it a book because it was my biggest worry. I was like, I don't want people to think I just copied the transcript from a podcast and turn it into a book. That's, to me, I don't want to knock anybody if anybody's doing that, but I was like, that's not the point of what I'm trying to do. I want to tell the specific story. And so there's a lot of, the book is not a comprehensive revision of the actual podcast. So with that being said, this is where my fiction brain goes in. I was like, I want the reader to be able to hear the person they're reading about, because you always make up how they sound in your head if you read a lot of books. That's what I do. Yes. So Lil goes, why don't you do a QR code and they can listen to the episode while they're reading their section? And I was like, holy shit, can we do that? Is that a real thing? Like, I don't know. And so that's what brought it all together. And then I will say, Doug, you wrote the endorsement. I'm very thankful for that. And I also had Jason, who, I can't remember if it was you connected me or Lil.
It was Lil, because I was surprised when you went out there. I'm like, how does he know Jason? I was like, oh, Lil. Because that's how I met Lil, was through Jason when I was looking to do a second edition of my book.
Yeah.
And I got connected through Jason because he wrote Living Blue.
Yeah.
Incredible book, big fan,
Awesome book. Yeah.
highly bookmarked by me. And I just connected with him because I
Yeah.
wanted him to read my book, and I sent him a copy of my book, and this started this whole mentorship thing. And I want to brag on Jason real quick. And
Please do. I'm a fan.
I'm not going to ask you this
No, go
yet
ahead.
because I don't want to lead you into this, but Jason is there's a couple of men since I've entered this space and what it is that we're doing now that that have risen above the rest. There's several people out there that, hey man, you're doing great, blah, 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 blah. Hey, for 10 grand, I'll 10X you, or I'll do this. Like, wait a second, man. You know, all of these nice things, and now here's the hard sell.
Yeah.
John Kelly is not one of those guys. He's an absolute gentleman. I met him, and he has been my big brother throughout this entire thing. A guy named Atlas Altman, who picked up on my stuff earlier and has been coaching me and moving things along for me. The third guy that was there since the beginning, who is still there, is Jason Palomera.
Yeah.
Jason is an absolute gentleman. If you need him for anything, text him, call him. He will, hey, you got 5 minutes? If it turns into an hour, he's not telling you you're 55 minutes over.
Nope.
He's going to listen to you. He's going to respond thoughtfully if that's what you ask for, and he's going to give you a solution. He is a cheerleader. He is a mentor. He is a friend. He's an absolute gentleman. And he, along with the other two, and there's a couple other that I haven't mentioned, they are there not because you're going to pay them back or you're going to give them anything or that they've asked for anything.
Nope.
They're there simply because they want to see you be successful and watch you grow.
Yeah.
And that's what I found in Jason, and I'm grateful for him, as the other that I mentioned. But Jason is just, dude, that guy is just a class act through and through. So
yes,
I would imagine that's what you found when you met him.
100%. And but much to your point, I actually had a couple conversations with him via Zoom, Skype, whatever it was, just talking to him, and he was very helpful. And I said, "Would you ever be on my podcast?" And he goes, "Absolutely." And I was like, "I'm going to fly out to LA." And I actually, in that one instant, I brought the team with me.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a solidifying moment for Street Tales, the team, me, BJ, and Mo, and Adam Macaluso. Because it's the first time we'd all actually been together in a room, one, ever, and two, most BJ and Mo had never met Adam. Anyway, a lot of things. And Jason comes in, and he immediately, actually, and let me not leave out his wife Veronica too, because they're both their own individuals, but I love that they do things together.
Yeah.
But they're honest, they're humble, and like you said, they're not there to sell you anything or anything. They'll talk to you. They are passionate about what they believe. They're passionate about their faith. They don't, they make no bones about it. But we recorded and we had lunch together. And I think in that moment, it was like they were just part of the family. It was just an odd experience for me because this is the first time I met this guy and his wife. And it was just immediately, everyone was like, dude, they're awesome. I was like, I agree. And that's turned into a whole nother thing. He's the one that actually pushed me to say, hey, you should do some apparel. You got to push this. And we were actually talking about, and this is where you and I were talking a little bit before, even though I was a business major in undergrad, I'm not a great business guy because I'm like, dude, I don't want to make money from this. I don't know. He's like, well, then who do you want to make money? I was like, I want to give to a good charity. And I'm like, but I don't know any. He goes, talk to Vicky Speed of Blue Cancer Connect. I talked to her for, like, to your point, we set aside a half hour. We talked for 2 hours. She is a ball of fire, buddy. And she's going to be on the podcast in a couple of weeks on Street Tales. And I just was like, done, I'm in. And I said, I want to do this and I want to do this with you. And I don't think I've talked about this, Doug. So this will be the first time I talk about it.
No, you haven't.
We're going to put together, we're working on a West Coast and an East Coast fundraiser for Blue Cancer Connect. So once that gets a little more solidified, I would love for you to be involved if you can, in whatever capacity. But I'm like, I'm in. I love what she's doing. She's like, all proceeds go to people and cops and their families who are dealing with cancer.
Yeah,
but
she doesn't take a salary or anything, does she?
She goes, I have enough money. She goes, my husband, she goes, I don't need money. She goes, I just can't believe this is how cops are being treated. And it's not just for cops. But anyway, she does way more than just give money to cops or people who have cancer. She's doing legislation. She's going to like she's finding attorneys. Like she's doing all kinds of stuff. I'm like,
I love that.
when do you sleep? Like she's doing training, she's doing classes, she's doing all this stuff. It's not just like, oh, give me money so I can give it to cops. It's not that. She's trying to educate them on the realities of the job and the health effects that can come. Like she's very focused on the cancer aspect because it's near and dear to her heart. But I swear, I bet right now if I called her and I was like, hey, I need help with this, she's like, it doesn't matter what it is. She's like, I'm there. I'll help you. Whatever. That's just who she is as a person.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I'm happy that I'm meeting these good people because there's a lot of shitty people in this space.
Yeah, dude. And
I'm learning
you know
the
what?
hard way.
I as much as I would love to go into the sewer and talk about some of that stuff,
No. We don't have to.
no, and I resolved today on a conversation with my adoptive older brother. I'm not going to waste my platform, your time, my time, or anybody else's time with that stuff. I think
No.
if folks like you and me and some of the folks that we've already mentioned continue to do the good work that they're doing for those reasons,
Yeah.
it will be visible for everybody else to see who's here and who's not. So yeah, I'm not going to let that take any more time. I've given away my joy to shitbirds long enough in the past.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that anymore. You know, it's funny because Jason, this was coming up on last December. Yeah, last December, Jason said, "Hey man, do you have a logo?" I'm like, "No, I've got tell this story in like all lowercase and it looks like concrete that's been beat up. That's kind of like what my thing is." And that because lowercase, because it was said softly, tell the story. I'm not telling it to everybody and it's weathered, the whole deal. And he's like, "Send it to me." Okay. So I email it to him, and about a week to 10 days later, this awesome high quality black t-shirt shows up with Living Blue Apparel stamp on the back and tell the story across the front. I'm like, dude, this is nice. And I'll tell you, I've worn that thing. Let's say 48 weeks. I've worn it 50 plus times.
Yeah.
And if I put something on, it gets washed. I don't wear it again. It's a holdover to the uniform days. But that thing is held up and it is in good shape. It's a little bit faded and it has nothing to do with qualities because I've washed the shit out of that. But I was thinking about doing something with him along those lines, but you scooped me. So now I just feel like a repeating piece of shit.
No, you should absolutely. No,
because he sent me, here's all the colors, here's the this, and I need a cooler logo because people aren't going to buy a shirt with a phrase across the front. I got to have something cool. So that's something that I would look into. And
this is Jason, man. He'll figure it out for you. And
I know he will, dude. I like that. Dude, that's awesome, man.
And the polos, they're Adidas polos, and I'm a big dude. We've talked about that. I'm a big dude.
I got a nipple problem. I can't wear thin shirts.
Well, there you go.
I'm going to edit that out because that's.
Leave it in, bro. Actually, that's on 56, bro. About the Kevlar.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if you caught that one yet, but
no, I haven't. Dude, that's all right. Like I told you, I've got a clean space in my head and on my social media and all that other stuff because while I want to be supportive of people who are doing stuff, I don't want to. And I don't know how to say this without sounding like a complete dick.
Do it. You can always edit it out later.
I need to have a boundary on who I'm going to support.
Yeah.
So if you're doing good work, I want to support you by saying, "Hey, I see what you're doing. Good job."
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that if we end up speaking someplace at a conference that you and I are going to have dinner together. Doesn't mean we're going to have coffee together. Yeah. Doesn't mean I'm going to stand on the same side of the room as you. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to call you a dick to your face because I've been known to say some shit. But it's going to be to your face before it goes to anybody else. It's kind of my thing. Yeah. But yeah, I need to clean out some of those folks that while I do want to be supportive, you're not necessarily my kind of person. That sounds awful. I didn't even like the way my face looked when I said that. But I need to protect my peace. And yeah, you may be doing something good, but I just don't know that it's something that I want to put out in the universe. If that makes any sense. And I've had to tell people like, "Hey, look, I appreciate it, but this is not going to be an ongoing thing where you and I shake hands and pretend to like each other because, I don't like you."
Yeah.
And, while it's uncomfortable to do, it's protected my peace and my boundaries. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, you'll find that more, and I'm sure you've already seen it, with people looking to 10x you and help you out, and let me
Oh yeah.
take you under my wing and buy this. Fuck off, bro. Look, man, you know what? Now this is going to sound arrogant, and please hear my heart on this. I did shit wrong for the better part of 30 years, right? I figured it out the hard way. I got to the
Yeah.
top and I got kicked down to the bottom.
Yeah.
Self-inflicted. The vast majority of it self-inflicted.
Yeah.
And I have figured it out only to find out that other people figured it out for me and I just had to read their books. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's what that means. Like when I went to Struggle Well for Boulder Crest,
Hmm.
I had just done the whole rebrand and rethinking and Kintsugi Bowl and all that. And I turned the page and there's a Kintsugi Bowl and my world was destroyed. I'm like, son of a bitch, this has been out for like 8 years. They figured this out. I had a reason to this on my own. I wish I had done something novel like, I don't know, ask for help. Dumbass.
Well, dude,
You know,
listen,
it's
listen.
there.
We talked Don Shamet. I'm a fan of his. His episode will be out next Monday. Not to shameless plug. You can edit that out.
No,
That's not
no,
the point. But he's 58 years old. He's been in this. He does something completely different. But just in him and I talking on the episode, he talks about the Kintsugi Bowl and how the Japanese take broken things and they make it beautiful because it has history. And just because you're broken in America, we try to hide it. We try to make it so seamless so you can't see it. He goes, the Japanese have figured out that no, that adds to the story. It makes it more beautiful. And immediately I was like, damn it, this is exactly what Doug is doing. Like that's the connection I made in my head. I was like,
that's so funny, man.
but that's how it works.
I wish I could claim it. The Japanese did. So I thought about it and I thought, man, they're highlighting the cracks with precious metal, and epoxy. And I'm like, that is so cool because now it's stronger than the breaks. It's highlighted the breaks. A set of 4 bowls. Well, that bowl is the only one like it in the entire world. It will never be recreated again. That is it.
Yeah.
And it is rich for the story of how the breaks got there. It's highlighted. It's beautiful. It's original. It's all of these things stronger in the cracks from having been broken. It's like, dude, what explains or what type of representation can you find that is more representative of the journey that we've been through?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's awesome. And then, to get scooped by Struggle Well and Boulder Crest, was like, oh, but it's cool. And by the way, that's a great program and a great resource if you're looking for anything. Boulder Crest is fantastic with their with Warrior Path and Struggle Well. It's good stuff. But
no,
anyway.
But to your point, because that's why BJ and I do 56, and it's vastly different than Street Tales, and I want it to be that way because I think I talked to you a little bit about it before, just in our conversations, but I went on a run for like 4 or 5 interviews, and I was like, "Holy man, this is like really depressing, dark shit."
Deep, yeah,
it's deep.
It takes it out of you, man.
It sticks with you, and I'm like, "Oh, I got to shake it off." 56 is not that. Sometimes we talk about things, but most of the time it's BJ and I. We talk every week. We have for 12 years, and we just have fun. And sometimes, it doesn't go anywhere, and we're just like, I don't know where to finish. But it's just fun. Is the point?
That's 2 friends.
I think there's enough. Yeah, there's enough serious stuff out there that it's nice to have a little lighthearted conversation, even if it doesn't ever go anywhere. I said I want to do this because we were talking about banking shows. This is a podcast stuff nobody cares about, but I was like, no, dude, I want to do it every week because I want to make sure we connect every week, and that's what it is.
That's cool, man. I was listening to you talk about that on your latest episode with Mo.
Yeah.
And at 56, and then Mo's going to be branching off something too for a little teaser for everybody. But I thought about that today in the gym, and I was like, man, who can I get to do this with me?
Just
and I've got a buddy, Pete Palm. He's a sergeant with the sheriff's office, and he and I have coffee, and we used to have coffee a lot. Then he became a first sergeant in the Army Reserve, so that and everything else, he's very busy. So then I was like, I know my comic relief. I'll get Tyler Huckett, who is the co-host of Alone and Unafraid, but he's already got Alone and Unafraid. So Tyler may be, and we'll probably just talk in circles about dick jokes and stupid shit that we did in the military or something that we did in Scotland that nobody will understand.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about doing something like that just to lighten this up. Cause like you said, man, these stories stick with you. One,
Yeah.
two, if somebody writes an awesome book like Street Tales Volume 1, available
Thank you,
everywhere.
sir.
If you have to do that, you read the book because you want to be respectful of the person's story of their time.
Yeah.
So reading a book like this, 3 or 4 hours, then you got to digest it. Then you got to do the podcast, the 1 hour interview. Then you have to clip it and you got to do all of these things. A 1 hour episode, man, you're looking at 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
It's a lot. 5 a
Yeah.
week. That's a full-time job in addition to your full-time job.
Yeah.
Problem I don't have, but others do.
Yeah.
So I love that you guys do that. And honestly, I want to skip back and go to, I'll probably listen to it tomorrow. The episode you guys did talking about cliches.
Yeah.
And how as the older you get, the cliches that were told to you as a kid, you start to understand them and they make sense.
Yeah.
And BJ is a very intelligent guy. And I'm not saying that because he's a bomb tech, but that helps.
He stole,
No, but-
I don't know if you caught it. He stole, well, I love BJ. He's my brother. But BJ wanted to be a SWAT guy. And I was like,
No.
fuck that, dude. I'm going to be a bomb guy. Once again, Doug, you helped with that. I was like, I'm going to do that. And anyway, long story short, it doesn't matter. I ended up leaving the sheriff's office. And a couple of years after I left, BJ's like, dude, I'm going to try out for a bomb team. I'm like, about time, dude. I've been trying to tell you that for 8 years or whatever. And guess what? He loves it. But no, he's such a big dude. Again, I'm probably taller than BJ, but he's one of the biggest human beings, one of the strongest human beings I've ever met in my life. He still bench presses 500 pounds in his garage by himself. Well, I told you he's crazy, but whatever. That's who he is. So people don't correlate that with his intelligence. And so when he starts to like pontificate on things, I'm like, bro, he has his master's degree and all these other things. He's a very intelligent dude, and he thinks about things a lot. That's why he's very quiet most times. People are always like, "Are you okay? Is everything all right?" Yeah, he's fine. He's just
processing.
He's just processing.
It's funny because when he starts talking, and I've heard him on the episodes with y'all, and it's still, I regret that I've not done 56 yet, but some of the clips that I get, they're coming. But 56 and some of the stuff that he says, it's one of those where you're like, hey, everybody be quiet. You kind of sit down and you want to lean in to the conversation and just let me soak some of this stuff in.
Yeah.
So no, what you guys are doing is fantastic. And yeah, man, I love it. What you guys are doing is freaking, I'm jealous, to be honest with you, because I wish I could assemble the crew. I take that back. I could assemble the crew. I wish I had the foresight to have assembled the crew before you assembled yours. Because again, I'm just like the guy now that's following suit, but
there's plenty of room, and there's so many stories.
No, this room is wide open, man.
Yeah, and, man.
So what is next? Is there volume 2? I know that you're working on I guess a memoir of sorts. What's that all about?
So I am making this promise to my family and myself. I did too much last year, in full disclosure. Started not one podcast, but 2, made it a business, got the LLC, wrote a book, launched a website, started an apparel line, which again, love Jason. And Jason did all of it, but it was still a lot of work because he's like, you don't have a logo, you have a backdrop. That's not a logo. It doesn't print right. Yeah, all these things. You start learning all these things. So it was a lot of work. And I've started diving into the podcast space. You start learning and you're like editing and, now we're doing video and all the stuff that you've already talked about. So I took on too much. I was doing 2 to 3 episodes a week. I was doing all this stuff and it was just too much work. So I was like, I'm going to do 1 a week. I have 2 shows, but what's next is for book wise is Sergeant Major Dave Devaney. He's did 32 years in the Marine Corps. He was a recon sniper. He's a great man. We did 2 episodes with him. His story, I could probably just have a podcast with him, just him telling stories, to be honest with you, and it'd fill the next 10 years because he's just a wealth of knowledge. But he's probably written 4 books worth of stuff, to be honest with you. Just he was that Marine that wrote his short stories. He wrote everything down.
That's cool.
And I was like, I want to help you. And he talked to Lil and he called me back and he goes, look, these are his words, not mine. Cause listen, Sergeant Major, if you're listening, I love you because that dude he's 58 years old or something like that. He could still sneak through my window and take me out.
Settle down on the ages, bro. Come on, I'll be 52 next week.
It means nothing to me because that guy is a bad dude. He's a bad motherfucker. So there's no disrespect here, but he goes, "I'm too old. I don't have the space or the time to do this." And I said, "Would you mind if I curated it?" Because I was like, I'm never going to take credit for someone else's work. I'm just not
Yeah.
going to do it. It'll be authored by him, but curated by me. And he goes, "If you would do that," he goes, "that would be an answer to prayers I've had for a very long time." He
Oh,
sent
wow.
me his life's work in a thumb drive. And I said, "Sergeant Major, no matter what happens, I will do this because I promised you I would." And so that is what I'm working on. That's next year, and it will come out. And it's amazing.
Buddy.
Yeah.
I just want to take a minute for everybody to catch up with us about how freaking cool is that?
It's an honor
Like,
for someone who's done what he's done.
you saw and you figured, hey, let me curate this and let's get this out. And he's like, oh my God, that would be so cool. You do that for me. And I mean, just like,
Yeah.
wow, dude, that's super cool wow. That's heavy, bro. That's a
It
big
is.
deal.
And I'm reading through what he's written, and I got to be honest, Doug. It's some of it. I'm like, well, anyway, that's why Lil's great because some of it's real heavy, and I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna translate well in a book. He's very honest. He does not hold anything back. He talks about how he felt when he was doing things, whether it was good or bad. Whatever your version is, it doesn't matter. He wrote from his perspective, and some of it, I'm just like, some of it's pretty dark, dude. And
I think it has to be there. Because
well,
there are
buddy, I
people
know.
sitting with it right
It's
now
rugged.
that don't understand it and they think it's just them.
Yeah.
I was just talking to a guy the other day. He'll be coming out on Alone and Unafraid's podcast here in a couple of weeks, and I'll be interviewing him at the end of December. And he's a Green Beret. He's a current sniper instructor at Fort Bragg, but he was on an operational ODA, did time in Afghanistan, and he talked about the things that, that happen in war and his responses to those and how they continue to impact him. And I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing, but he didn't know that other people felt the way that he felt. He thought it was just him. And then when he starts getting around, and actually now that he's healing and he's gone to Warrior's Heart, now that he's healing and he's sober and continuing to along the path of being well, he's talking to people and they're like, yeah, I know, bro. It's not just you. It's every one of us. And this is how I got through it. And this is how he got through it. And it's amazing the storytelling and authentic storytelling connects with people and lets people know that they're not alone. Because it can be, one, having those experiences scary as shit. Trying to sort it on your own, even scarier. Thinking that you're alone, like there's nobody out there that's going to understand me. Brother, there's nothing worse than that type of isolation. So to have the strength for him to write down all of those things and be honest, and then to entrust it to someone else to put it out there. Yeah, dude, that's a big deal. Well, man, I'm excited. I'm excited to hear from you about that process and how that's going for you. And I can't wait to see it when it comes out, man. I think that's going to be freaking incredible.
To expand upon Sergeant Major Dave Devaney, and I say that because it's a little inside joke. I kept calling him Master Sergeant, and he didn't care. And
he doesn't care. He's retired now.
No, he doesn't care. But I had Adam Macaluso, who's a lieutenant colonel. He goes, "If you call him Master Sergeant one more time, I will choke you myself. He's a sergeant major." Again, I'm not a veteran, didn't serve. I have nothing but respect. But he doesn't care. But anyway, he on his own, like 3 or 4 years ago, the number one question that all young Marines would ask him was, how do you survive in combat? Because he did a lot. Let's just put it that way. He's been on, I guess it doesn't matter. I don't know if you want me to talk about it. He's been on a lot of missions. Let's just phrase it that way. And he survived. And that was the number one question. So on his own, he wrote How to Survive Combat. He self-published it, and he just gave it away for free to anyone and everyone. And matter of fact, when he found out my son was a Marine, he sent me like 15 or 20 of them. Again, not a Lil Barkowski project, paper, just kind of like stapled together, but whatever. I gave them to my son, and he goes, "Dad, they were gone within an hour." Other sergeants and lieutenants were like, How do you know Dave Devaney?" My dad interviewed him on he's like, "What?" Like, yeah. My son's world, I confuse it sometimes. I make it hard to explain who I am. They're like, "How do you know who this person is?" But he goes, it's been passed around multiple military bases already, and that was maybe just a few months ago. Because
That's
he
proof
answers
to what
those
I just
questions.
said, man. Proof
Yeah.
to what I just said. This stuff's important, dude.
Yeah.
John Kelly says it's like finding the answers to the test in the trash can. You now have the answers to the test, and you're kind of a dick if you don't share it with your friends who are failing.
Yeah.
If you sit back or you say, yeah, I'll give you these, but I'm going to need the pink slip to your car.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't charge that stuff, bro. If you found
No.
it and it's worth it, share it, man.
Well, that's what I'm trying to help Dave with, Sergeant Major with, because he's like, I was like, he doesn't even want to, he doesn't care about money. I was like, I'll give it to a charity. I was like, I don't want to, because you know how it is. You sell books, you make money. I was like, I don't want to make money off your work. Well, not a lot. You and I understand that. Not a lot. But again, like I said, I don't want to profit from his work. I said, I'll give it to whatever charity. And he goes, you'll figure it out. He just goes, you'll figure it out. I was like, all right, bro. So Blue Cancer Connect's probably going to get that one as well.
Well, that's cool. I have actually, sorry for the loud noise, folks. I have actually probably given away almost as many books as I've sold.
Yes, I have for sure.
And that's fine, man, because honestly, what I wanted to do when I did all of this, I wanted to write and publish a book. That was it. That was the metric of success. That's all. I did that. So anything after that is just cool. And I will tell you this so you're not shocked. And I hope you did this on purpose, but you send me my signed copy of the hardcover.
Yeah.
But also 6 copies of the paperback,
Correct.
Along with the little card in there that's going to go along with this. But I also have a 2-hour show every Tuesday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on the Thin Line Rock Station. There's a first responder and military rock station on iHeart. You can catch me there. There's several other podcast personalities that have their own time. But as I was closing out my episode that I recorded today that will play tomorrow, I told people, the first 6 people who go to DougWhiteOfficial.com, do contact Doug and say Street Tales in the comment, I will respond to you and I will mail you your own copy for free of Street Tales Volume 1. That way we'll have 6 more copies of Street Tales floating out there. I could hand them out at the police departments, but yeah, who knows what will happen to those. I know this way that the people that are taking the time to do that will get their book and be exposed to that. So that's super cool. Circling back to Sergeant Major's story, and I've actually told this story to Sean Dugan. I don't know if you remember Sean Dugan. He was a sniper for the sheriff's office.
Oh, you know what? I do. I only know of him. I never met him. I think I saw him one time on the training grounds running in a ghillie suit. That's about the extent of my experience.
Sean. Yeah. Okay. So no, that's fine. That's 99.8% of the world population that knows him as that.
I was happy he's on our side. That's how I felt.
Yes. Mostly myth or legend, but he and I talk probably every couple of weeks, but we've spoken, I think twice this week already. And he's always texting me funny pictures of, the latest was him sitting on the couch with his cat asleep on his chest. And I'm like, yeah, dude, this is in your home. Why is there a camo painted AK-47 not on safe, sitting next to you on the couch? It's like, bro, you live in the middle of nowhere, but that's just him. Yeah. So anyway, we were talking about the power of stories and all of that stuff and just connecting with people through stories. And I told him about my old team leader. This guy is retired sergeant major. He was Delta, all of the things. He's been in every major engagement since Panama. So he was an SF guy, made selection. He was the youngest and now the second youngest to ever make it through selection and go to Delta or special missions. So he was in Panama and all of the stuff. So he heard the podcast that I was on. The first podcast I was ever on and ever said anything out loud was Alone and Unafraid. And he heard the episode and he reached out to me and asked me about it. So I sent him the manuscript. Still very afraid of the story. Didn't know what to think of it. And he emailed me a couple of days later and said, I would rather go back to Afghanistan to do what you did. I said, how did you do that? And then he started emailing me stories that he had written, short stories, much like the Sergeant Major had done.
Yeah.
And he was talking about combat, his first taste of combat in Panama. Then he started talking about the handover in Mogadishu because his squadron left as the new squadron came in, and he was basically working with Shugart and Gordon. And before he rotated back, because that's just how they do it, they hand off. This is what everything looks like. This is all of that stuff. And Earl Fillmore was a friend of his who was the youngest to ever make it through selection and go to Delta. They were very good friends. They went to sniper school together and all that. So while he was back over here, a Gothic Serpent, Task Force Ranger, as people know it, Black Hawk Down occurred. So since they were back home, they had to receive the bodies, and he was assigned to families to be with them during the funerals.
It's rough.
And no, it is rough because it's a small community one. They all know each other. They did the handoff together, and weeks later, they're now receiving bodies and dealing with the family.
Yeah.
And he wrote about those experiences and other experiences, Iraq. And it was amazing to me that I had known this man. This was late 24, that I had known this man for 23 years, and I never knew any of those things about him. And it wasn't until he listened to me on a podcast and read my manuscript that I was allowed into that part of his life. And again, I know this guy's daughter. I know his wife. Wife hugs me every time we see her.
Yeah.
We've been together if he's in country, like monthly for years for barbecues and shit. And I never knew that stuff about him. And my other team leader, also a Delta Sergeant Major, who has been in everything, who was actually in Gothic Serpent, he was telling me stuff just recently when we reconnected. He was telling me stuff that, Operation Rhino and, the beginning days of Afghanistan and Anaconda and Roberts Ridge and all of these things. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, again, known this guy 22 years and never have heard these conversations, heard these stories. And I mean, they were deep. It wasn't one, there we were in the middle of the Congo. It was, this is what happened. This is how I felt. This was the impact that it had on me years later, the impact that it had on my family, what we're doing now. And I mean, it's just, it was connection. I think that's the best thing to say. It was connection. And I'm glad to see that Sergeant Major Devaney is doing those things and has trusted you with it. I think, that's the whole premise of Tell This Story. Authentic connection through storytelling to help each other find their way forward. I mean, that's what this is all about. Yeah, man. So I think we're coming to the end of this. I know everybody's looking to get some supper. I keep getting text messages from my kids. Can I go to Chick-fil-A? Did anybody want anything? And by the way, here's a shameless plug for Chick-fil-A. Not that they need it, but they have their flavors out right now. Hold on a second. I'm ordering my ice cream.
There you go. It's got to be pumpkin or something.
No, bro.
Well, you got to indulge every now and again.
Pumpkin. I don't do the pumpkin shit. No thanks. Just because I got a Stanley Cup doesn't mean I wear Uggs and go for this pumpkin spice bullshit. Basic white bitch. Anyway, no. So I love, and I only do this from Thanksgiving to New Year's Day. I love peppermint bark.
Really?
Yeah. Giardelli's peppermint bark is my favorite. I'm not going to get the Sam's Club or the Costco bullshit. I don't need 10 pounds of it. I just want the individually wrapped treats. Well, so Ice Dream, big fan of Ice Dream because I'm a fat kid, whatever. But there's a Chick-fil-A like a mile and a half from my house. The kids go by there. Anybody want anything? Yeah, I want a cup of Ice Dream. And I want the peppermint because they have peppermint shakes right now. They take the peppermint and the chocolate. Basically, they have the peppermint bark. They mash them up and they put them on top of the Ice Dream. It's fantastic. Yeah, dude, like a $1.67, you get a treat. Yeah, bring it. I'll work it off tomorrow.
See,
anyway,
Doug,
that's why I'm texting the kids. Yes, get my ice cream.
This is wwhy you're coming on 56ing because BJ and I will do. Well, we've done a whole episode about food because we're both fat kids. That's why we have to work out so hard. But just it's fun.
I'm all about that. Yeah, I like my sweets, bro. Oh, another thing, I was told by a very good friend of mine. Said, "Hey, every time I look on social media, I see your face and it's your serious face."
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, because what I'm talking about is serious stuff. And they're like, "Why do you always look angry?" And I'm like, yeah, well, that's a criticism that I've received my entire adult life. I always look like I'm angry or mad at somebody, but this is my happy everyday face. I'm actually a really funny guy. And he's like, I know, Dick, that's what I'm talking about. He goes, you're like one of the funniest people I know, but you're never joking. Why don't you let people see the funny side of you? And I'm like, because I'm situationally funny. Like if we're joking around, I'll say some outlandish funny shit.
Yeah.
But I just can't turn on the camera and tell jokes or be funny.
No.
That's not me. Anyway, Maybe 56 will be the venue for that. Who knows?
Yeah, buddy.
But yeah, dude, any way I could support you or what you're doing. By the way, it's completely selfish because you guys are freaking huge. You're blowing up. So anytime you want to show my face or my voice or talk about what I'm doing, buddy, I am more than happy to accept the praise and the compliments and the boost. I need it.
It'll always be honest because I'll never do it. There's no flattery that unless it's honesty.
No, and
BJ calls it give you your flowers. BJ will give you your flower. I'm like, bro, why? Again, he can say that because he's a giant human being. I'm like,
Yeah,
how do you gotta call it that, bro?
Here's
No
your
one's gonna tell him
flowers.
otherwise.
It's like they're like this big. It's like, man, you don't even have human being hands. Give me that little ass bouquet.
Exactly.
So anyway, man, what is up next for you? What have you got going on? What can we expect? Are you taking a break for the holidays? I mean, what do you want to say before we close this out, man? Where can everybody find you? All of that shit. Say it.
I'll say all the things. Shamelessly, streettalesnetwork.com. That's where you can find all our podcasts, upcoming podcasts. I'm very excited about Mo and her sister. I'm trying to have a conversation with you, which is going to be amazing.
That's cool. I used to work for her husband.
Oh yeah. Love
Yeah.
Frank.
Yeah.
Frank is, cause you know, Frank, he's like, hey, so can anybody go on 56 or is it just Tyler?
Anybody
and BJ?
but you,
like,
Frank. Anybody but you.
Frank's he's got his hair growing out now.
Does he really?
All the things that he never did. Yeah.
Dude, he taught me how to write memos the hard way.
Oh, buddy. Yeah.
The hard way. He's good.
Dude, I love, their family is so great. Anyway. So no, we are streettalesnetwork.com. That's where you can find all of the podcasts, upcoming books, keynote speaking. We've got some events. Actually, after this, we'll talk. I want to talk through that with you. And that's where we're going to start posting all the things that we're doing, upcoming fundraising, anything that we're doing will be on streettalesnetwork.com. Also, Lil Barkowski. Shout out Lil Barkowski. She's set up the website. She's phenomenal. Love her team.
Dude, your website's awesome. I hate your website because it's that awesome. I really do.
Dude, I'll tell you.
I even text you like, dude, did Lil do that? Like, shit, I should have gone with Lil.
Don Schmidt said the same thing. He goes, who did your website? God damn. I was like, Lil Barkowski. Bro. Love her. But no, podcasting, we're going to be more consistent. And the Sergeant Major Dave Devaney's book, that's going to be coming out next year as well. So it's going to be a busy year. Oh, dude, I'm very excited. Is it weird to say I'm more excited? I'm not more excited. I'm equally, if not more excited to do this for him because the stories are they're so good. Like I find myself I'm trying to write it and I'm just reading like, holy shit. I stopped typing.
Bro, I want to highlight again how awesome it is to be entrusted by a person like that with their story and their words. I mean, that responsibility and that trust that says, yes, the undertone is there. It should be assumed, but I'm going to point this out. It really speaks to your level of character that a dude like that who has known you for a very short amount of time has seen something in you and is entrusting you with something like that. Yeah, bro. Because guys like that don't do that shit. You're not going to be some scumbag shitheel that gets their work. That's a huge thing, and I'm sure that's not wasted on you. And I don't want that to be lost on anybody else. That's a huge responsibility, and it really speaks to your character and what you're doing, man. So that is, fuck yeah, bro. That's awesome.
I appreciate it, and I'm dedicated to making it a great product. Other than that, anybody listening on your platform, sir, anybody who wants to come on Street Tales or 56, and again, I'm very informal. I don't know. I just DM me or reach out to Doug. Doug, you have all my contact information.
Yep.
I'm happy to do it, and I just want to reiterate: there's no gotcha. I edit stuff out all the time because people will be like, "Oh, I don't want that person in there. I didn't mean to say." I'm not trying to get clicks on your story just for the purpose of getting clicks. I want your story to be out there and people to hear it. I do believe that is very important. I've even recorded episodes, sat on them for several weeks because I sent them to them. I said, let me know if you even want to post it or two, want to take anything out. I have no problem doing that. I do it. I've done it quite often already. That's not the purpose of the show. I'm just trying to highlight and capture important stories that I want people to hear. And I'm dedicated to making a professional product. I don't want someone's story to be dismissed or overlooked because of something I did on my end on the production side. That's a different thing. But when I'm all in on something, I go all in. So Doug, I appreciate you, brother. And again, I'm a fan of yours, so it's a unique spot for me to be in.
I appreciate all that. And it's conversations like this to know that lets me know that I'm reaching people, man. And the best part of everything that I've done and am doing is to just to be part of your story too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's awesome. I've often explained it or described it as having a ticket to the dance. I'm not the DJ. I didn't put those streamers. I didn't spike the punch. I just get to be the guy in the room watching everybody else, and to just to get a front row seat to everybody else's success and growth is really the I have found is the best part of all of this, to be honest with you. So this is payment, buddy. I appreciate you. Everything that people need to contact you is going to be in the show notes. So folks, look at that. So with that, everybody, Tyler, thank you so much, buddy, for everything you're doing. And just, it's freaking awesome. And
Thank you,
anybody
sir.
who's looking to write a book, who's thinking about writing a book, do it. Do not search for anybody. Hey, how to write a book? Don't go on Upwork or any of that garbage. Lil Barkowski,
100%.
Lil Barkowski, spelled exactly the way that it sounded. If you're an asshole, she's likely going to tell you, but she'll do it in a nice way. Like BJ says, that message will hit you when you get to the parking lot. Yeah. Yeah. You'll hang up and be like, oh, she really, wait a second. Maybe I am an asshole. She is a spark plug, buddy, but she'll put you on the right path and make sure you stay there. She's good to go. She's our kind of people. So Lil Barkowski, if you're looking to write a book, and I highly recommend that you do it to get your story out there. If anything, it's important for you to get that stuff out. And there are people out there waiting to hear your story because there's something in it that's going to help them find the light. So with that, everyone, thank you very much. And thanks for listening to Tell the Story. We'll see you next time. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, brother.
That's going to wrap it up for this episode of Tell This Story. Thank you for staying in the fight. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with one person who needs it. Check out the show notes for our guest contact information and all their socials. Follow Tell This Story on the platform of your choice. Hit like and subscribe. Every rating helps get our voices to the people who need it most. Get your copy of my book, Hiding in Plain Sight, The Truth About Trauma, Service, and the Way Forward. It's now available on Audible, and you can get it anywhere you get your books. Tap into more information about this platform or resources for vets, responders, and their families at DougWhiteOfficial.com. We'll see you next time.